Hello, 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 hello. It is time for the live stream. Oh my god, he nailed it. You didn't know he had skills like this. Hello, hello everyone. Hello, welcome to the Monday night live stream. We made it. We made it. It is so nice to see you. Hello, Kiera. How's it going? How's it going? Gonna be a chill live stream tonight. Chill live stream. Not the chaotic energy that we had on Friday. Gonna be a chill live stream. Stray Bubble, hello, hello, welcome. So glad to see you. Ayo, ayo. Atario, hey, hey, welcome, welcome. Happy to see you here. Oh, I hope everyone had a good weekend. Isabel, so excited to be able to catch one of these again. We are so excited to have you here again. Wow. Wow. That is lovely. Lovely. You know what? Let me get some airflow in here. Let me turn a fan on. Let's get some airflow going. No, Carson's got the creakiest chair in the YouTube game. I don't know if you guys have picked up on that. They don't get much creakier. They don't get much creakier than my chair. Boosin, hello, hello, hello. Glad I made it on time today. You know what? You showed up. Showed up. And that's more than I could ever ask. So, glad to see you. Stray Bell said, won't be able to write right now watching my kid, but she goes to sleep in an hour. The parent life. The parent life. How's everyone doing? Anyone do anything cool on the weekend? Make writing progress? Just go out and do something wild? Any cool weekend stories? I'll tell you, the weekend was chill over here. We went to go see a hockey game. There's like a hockey league around here that's for kids, for guys who are right out of high school but right before going into college. They go play in these big hockey leagues as sort of like their way to perform well and get like a scholarship and go to a college to play hockey. So we went out to go watch some people hit some pucks, shave some ice. Other hockey sayings I'm sure exist that I don't know that much about. To go check some pads. What else do they do in hockey? To slap some shots, to wrist some shots. I played a couple NHL games in my day. I'm not a total noob. Otherwise, it was a pretty chill weekend. Lantern Valley, huzzah, huzzah, welcome. But I'll tell you, today was a test. Today was a test of willpower. It was a test of good energy. It was a test to see if I had the stuff to make it through the day. Let me tell you what happened today. The first thing that happened was right when I got up. My glasses had been like on the edge of the bed, fell off the bed, and guess who stepped on them? Same dude who knocked them off. And so, all day my glasses have been in this tape cast, basically, getting super glued back together. And I got an old backup pair of glasses. An old backup pair of glasses that has dog teeth marks, bite marks in the glass. Oh, I remember why I retired these. Those who don't have glasses, you don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like. Going from one pair of glasses to another one can be nauseating. Everything from like how much lens you have to how thick they are, how much of your peripheral vision is covered by the glasses, changes your life. Okay? Crazy. Crazy. So today, this should be all cured up with our super glue. We're gonna see if I can go back to my good pair of glasses without the teeth marks. That's all I'm asking. Also, these glasses, you'll know anyone who wears glasses, even if they're hiding behind contacts, right? And they're not wearing their glasses. This move is universal. The back of the finger glasses tap to set them back on the nose. You know. So let's see if these glasses are still manageable, because these glasses are much nicer. Also, if you're still buying your glasses at the eye doctor, time to grow up. Look, times have changed. You don't need to pay. You know, I think sometimes you can see like glasses that are like $200 something at the eyeglasses store, or at the eye doctor. They're like, insurance might cover these frames. Insurance won't, God knows insurance won't cover these other frames. But these ones, even after insurance, are only $200. Then you go to Zenni Optical, Zenni.com to buy your glasses. These frames for the glasses I'm unraveling that I've had for 2-something years were $7. Don't be getting scammed, nickeled and dimed by the eye doctor. And also, don't step on your glasses. Hot take. You know I'm full of them. You know I am full of them. All right, this is the moment. This is the moment. Oh no, I super glued the tape. We good. Okay, well, hold on. We made it. We made it to the Okay, they won't last a long time, but I think they'll get me. I went ahead and ordered another pair of these. I got like all the bells and whistles, like anti-glare, anti-fog lens things. Especially important in the winter when you live in a cold place. When you go outside all bundled up in your stuff and you step inside the door of a restaurant or something and your glasses totally fog up. You're like in the mist by Stephen King. Hello, Coral Sands. Hello. Coral, I thought I heard you say in the Discord that you were expecting to like finish your story you've been working on, or at least a major chapter during one of your live streams. How'd it go? Did you do it? Do it? Oh my god. Does this look weird to you? Is this weird? What? Who is that? Pluto! Pluto just subscribed. Thank you, Pluto. Thank you. Shout out, Pluto. All right. So I wear contacts pretty often, just not for this kind of stuff. But to you, I probably look super weird without glasses because you've never seen me without glasses. Goro-san says stuck at 50K. You know what? Being stuck at 50K better than being stuck at 5K. So definitely gonna finish on the live stream. That is awesome. Ray Guns, hello. My cat turned on sticky keys, and I can't shut it off. That's me in 2011 in computer class. My computer just going tweet, 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 tweet. You know, we've all been there. Oh, dude, going back to my regular pair of glasses is like huge, huge. Oh man, thank goodness, thank goodness. Let's see what else happened. I don't think much. Here's the deal. We got Precious. Hello, Precious. Hello. Here's the deal. I got some good things for you guys today. The very first thing is not my Scrivener, but is instead, in case you didn't know, this live stream is sponsored by Pro Writing Aid, which means we can do this live stream without bombarding you with ads. And if you've ever wanted to give this thing out, give Pro Writing Aid a shot, they have just started their Black Friday sale. 50% off. So if you are interested, this is probably the best sale you're going to see. Maybe there's like a Christmas sale. But feel free to give it a shot. Welcome to the club. Terrible. Welcome to the club, Precious. If you've ever wanted to try Pro Writing Aid, you can always do their free trial. And if you choose to then upgrade, it'll be 50% off. You can use my link down below. I would have to guess that this does not stack with the normal discount that you'd get using my code. So, Kiera, you can, they have some way to switch that around so you can still get the discount. You can still do it. You may have to email them or something, but they're pretty open to it. My guy who I was talking to about it says that that's a pretty common occurrence. When you buy something, it goes on sale the next day. Oh, that's tough. I am going to run some reports on my story today so you can see exactly what it looks like. Yeah, pretty useful. So, big sale going on right now. Feel free to check it out. Shout out to Pro Writing Game. The next thing is, if you are interested, I provide some book coaching and developmental editing stuff. You can check it out on my website, writingtheory.com. I think I have a link below. I am currently working with an author as a book coach, and it is so much freaking fun. It is so much fun. Anyone who's interested, at least compared to other book coaching sort of services, mine are still super cheap. I just want to make sure I'm able to provide that value before those prices may start to go up one day. But basically, that same kind of story analysis that you see in my videos, it's me and you on a one-on-one call doing that with your story. And it is so much fun. Check it out. Check it out. It's basically just a party in a one-on-one meeting. We dive into your story. We'll probably do like a planning sort of free meeting at first to make sure that we're both on the same page about what you're expecting. And then if you're right in the middle of the writing process, which is what book coaching is meant for, I'm reading that manuscript with you as you're writing it. You know, I'm leaving comments, I'm making notes, and then we come back every 10, 15, 20, 25% of your book based on how you like to write, based on how much sort of help you need. And then we sit down. I've read all of your manuscript up to that point, and we talk about where it goes next, what your plans are, things that we can change, adjust, strengthen, focus on, improve. And yeah, it's just like so much fun. So yeah, check it out. You can fill out the form on my website, and then we'll schedule like a free meeting first where we chat about, is this really work for you? Is this going to be good for you? And then from that point on, we do some scheduling, get it all squared away. That's all of the groundwork stuff I wanted to do. For those who are writing in Scrivener, and if you aren't writing in Scrivener, I think I have a link down below. But for those who are writing in Scrivener, I did want to show you this because I don't know if you might know about this or not. If you go up into your project and you go down here to your writing history, sometimes this is fun to look at. Your writing history will show you every single day that you've written in this Scrivener file and how many words that you've written. And sometimes this is kind of cool to see, where you can see like, oh, I had a more productive day on the 5th versus, oh, I didn't do so well on the 9th, but that was a weekend. So like, that was just like a little bit of extra stuff I wanted to do. And you can see that it breaks down your word count between your draft and then what's called other. Basically, how many words did you type in your manuscript that are your actual story things? And then how many things did you add on for like character descriptions or setting descriptions or all this other kind of stuff? I think it's always pretty fun to look at. And if you really want to like get into this, this is really cool. Down at the bottom, there's a little target icon. And I know it's going to be really hard to see on the live stream. You can actually set goals, targets, word count targets. Technically, you could do characters if you're a wild person. Could you imagine? I'm writing 10,000 characters today. You can go in here and you can actually, like if you were following something like Save the Cat, then you could actually go through and you could be like, I know I want this like opening scene to be 2,500 words. I'm going to do that with every story beat that I have in my story. And then there's like little things you can like set up here. But then when you're looking at your manuscript back over here where you can see everything, there's like a little progress bar that gets filled up on this right side with all of your like, did you hit your goals? Did you go over your goals? If you like that kind of stuff, Scrivener's got some cool things on that. Isabel says you can set yourself a daily word count or a monthly word count. There you go. There you go. Sometimes that's encouraging if you really love that kind of stuff. When we get to the end of the month, I'll show you what my favorite feature of Scrivener is. It's something called snapshots. and it'll make your editing life so much easier. We'll talk about that later this month. If you don't know what this is, if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're saying this Google Docs thing looks really weird, this is a writing tool called Scrivener. You can check it out. It's really popular. It's really good. A lot of us in the Discord use it, but we have plenty of people who are writing their stuff in Google Docs, in Microsoft Word, in Windows Notepad, in Microsoft Paint. So the tool, only a poor craftsman blames the tool. You can still write in whatever. Still write in whatever. All right. You guys have any questions? Anything come up over the weekend you guys want to chat about? Anyone see the new video? Want to talk about genres and tropes and cliches before we actually buckle down and do some writing? I'm at a fun part of my story. I'm excited. I made sure I left off my last writing session knowing exactly what I'm supposed to do next. Pro tip. Raygun says, I know a friend makes indie games who codes wholly in Java. Tell them that 2004 called and they want their programming language back. Got him. Got him. That's a programming joke for you. Oh man, I'm such a hit with the crowd. All right. No, Java's not bad. Java's not bad. I learned to do my programming. I think most trajectories into programming go, I'm going to learn HTML, CSS, then I'm going to make that better with JavaScript. And then eventually you're like, oh my God, get me out of the web browser. I hate being in this web browser. I want to do something that's real programming. And then you open up like C# or C++ or, you know, whatever, or C. And then you're like, oh my God, this is terrible. All I can do is write things to the command line. And then after that, you're like, let me find something more friendly. And then you learn Python and you're like, okay, this is not so bad, but the GUI still sucks if I want to like make an application. And then you learn either Node.js and all of the JavaScript frameworks and you go back to the web browser, or you're like, ooh, Ruby on Rails does everything I want. And if I can learn Ruby on Rails, I can learn everything. And then you learn Ruby on Rails and you're making APIs, then you connect it to like a React framework. Ooh, you're cooking. You're cooking. Clip it. He knows what he's talking about. That's it. Precious says Wicked is coming out with Ariana Grande in it. Yes, I've seen all the Wicked trailers. Yes, coding. Yes, I know some of those words for sure. Sorry, I had to learn Java 4 years ago and then they switched to C. Oh my God, it's like Carson knows. It's like he knows what he's talking about. Then you pick up the Unity game engine and you're like, okay, C# is not so bad when I can use like, it's called Monoscript, when I'm plugged into the Unity game engine and all the documentation's readily available. And then Unity does something where like, hey, we're gonna charge the developers for every install. And then people are like, get me out of Unity, I'm going over to Godot. And then you get to Godot and you're like, wow, GDScript is just like Python. Thank God I learned Python 4 years ago. He keeps going. He keeps going. Oh my God. Mandy Moon, hello, welcome to the chat. I don't know if I've seen you around yet. Mandy Moon says, my husband just put an indie game on Steam for wishlist. He taught himself to code. That is awesome. That is a big accomplishment. He should be very proud. Very proud. It's always fun to you know, to poke around and do some like game development stuff, do some prototyping or something like that. But finishing something takes a lot more discipline, a lot more dedication. Shout out. Rayguns, I'm going to curb my expectations with the Wicked film. Musicals don't always translate well to film, aka Cats. But I don't know. I find out Aaron, what was blah blah, one virgin, blah blah blah. Wow. I don't know those names. Here's something crazy. I claim. Oh, hello, Franny. Wow. Thank you so much for subscribing. Shout out, Franny. We don't talk about cats. Hey, it's out there. And you know what? The clash of fandoms, you have all the Taylor Swift fans that went to go see it. But really, the fan base you really got to watch out for is the James Corden fans. The Cordon Blues, as they like to be called. Shout out Cordon Bleu. Wasn't there a Disney actor named Cordon Bleu? What was that dude's name? He was in High School Musical. But even cooler, oh, I gotta pull this up. He was in, I don't know if anyone here is gonna know this. This guy was in Discovery Kids' answer to Lost in the early 2000s. Corbin Bleu, not Cordon Bleu. Corbin Bleu. Did anyone ever watch this show growing up? Hold on, let me pull it up over here. It was like Lost blowing up TV. Lost fans everywhere. And then I can't remember if it was Discovery Kids or Disney, but I think it was Discovery Kids. We're like, we need our own airplane crash drama. Flight 29 down in the chat. That's what I'm talking about. Ray guns. Let's go. Flight 29 down. Let's pull this bad boy up. I remember this show. I remember this. Flight 29 down was Discovery Kids. I remember this. They only did 2 seasons. I never saw whatever television film Wikipedia is talking about. But it's like a Discovery Kids show. You can't have people dying. So they have this airplane crash onto this island carrying like 15 teenagers. And that's it. And of course, everyone lives. And then the pilot's like, all right, everyone, I'm going to take this group of people and we're going to go find help. All of you teenagers, you guys stay here. Peace. And then he was out. Oh, man. Good times, good times. Corbin Bleu. Shout out Corbin Bleu. Got to get your head in the game. But they couldn't make anyone die, so they were just like, let's just have these guys like walk away. Shout out. That was a fun show. But okay, here's the deal. Discovery Kids for real had some sleeper hits. And I don't know if anyone else, it sounds like Ray Guns maybe saw some Discovery Kids back in the day. They had another show that I swear was like the X-Files for kids. It was called and Juliet, hello. It was called, if anyone can remember this, I think it was Strange Days at Blake Halsey High. That show slapped, dude. Strange Days at Blake Halsey High. This was like, dude, this show rocked. It was like a boarding high school, because all the great TV show high schools are kind of boarding schools, right? We got to get all the kids there and get all the adults out of the way. But all these kids were part of the like science, the science class. And also their school was like kind of like on a black hole that was dumping them out through time. And so every episode was like this black hole, like manipulating different parts of this high school and sending people off in different ways and all kinds of things. And they were trying to contain the black hole. Also, shows about a black hole. Strange Days at Blake Halsey High. Is that good or is that lame? I need your help. Blake Halsey High and show about black holes. Yes or no? What's this Black Hole High about? We don't get Black Hole High on this channel. We are a family channel. We are a friendly channel. We are just reminiscing on some old Discovery Kids TV shows. That show was good though. All right. I think it is about time. I have not touched this story since the Friday live stream. But here's a little tip. I don't know if everyone does this. I do it when I consciously think about it. If you find sometimes that you finish writing one day and the next day you go to pick up your story again and you kind of don't really know where to go. Some famous writing advice is to end your writing day not at the end of a chapter, but right in the middle of one. JP says, Carson today, we're a friendly channel. Carson, a few days ago, I could probably drop kick a beluga whale. Only if the whale's asking for it. I would never go out of my way to harm a beluga whale unless he's being a real jerk. Isabel says, I grew up in a region where we didn't get cable, so I was always stoked to visit my family in the lower 48 and watch Danny Phantom. He's going ghost. Going ghost. Danny Phantom was pretty good. Pretty good. Wasn't the best show, but it was way better than average. Way better. Danny Fenton as Danny Phantom. Love that name. But then why do I not love Blake Holsey High? I don't know. I'm picky, I guess. I'm just picky. Etera says, I had a huge crush on Danny Phantom. You know, the crazy thing is I've heard that from a lot of different people. I've heard that from a lot of people. The real question, Eterial, is did you write Danny Phantom fan fiction? Because a lot of people who I hear say they had a crush on Danny Phantom then went on to write Danny Phantom fan fiction. Don't lie. Do not lie to me. This is a safe space. Way too young. Okay. You get a pass. You get a pass. Oh, so good. When I was in my master's program at Texas Tech, one of my friends who I made there was, we were talking about fan fiction. They did one of their like class projects on sort of the UI, right? The user experience of, Archive of Our Own. And they told me they had written like a ton of Danny Phantom fan fiction. And I was like, you know what? Whatever gets you going in writing, it's a good way to start writing. The best crush option was the box ghost. No, the best crush option wasn't even in Danny Phantom. It was Slimer from Ghostbusters. What am I doing? What am I doing, dude? Also, does not look totally safe. Slimers in chat. We gotta write. What are we doing here? We're supposed to be writing. That's what this live stream is for. Sorry, see, there you go. Atario. I would have written them if I'd been older. It's never too late. Never too late. Was anyone a Wings of Fire kid? I've never heard of Wings of Fire. What is Wings of Fire? All right, before we buckle down and get writing, I guess I'll look up Wings of Fire. Oh, gotta love me some dragons. Can't go wrong with dragons. Maybe this is the live stream I start writing Danny fan fiction. Oh, so good. Lil says, hey Carson, any tips to help make an absent, not dead character's absence more prevalent or more like feelable? How, so is this at, let me rephrase. How do you make the lack of a character that maybe we've gotten used to more impactful? I love that question. I love that question. I'll tell you, there are definitely things that you can do. And my first example, the very first thing that comes to mind, Isabel says flashbacks are useful. In cases, maybe go flashback. I would say, if possible, do not do flashbacks. Flashbacks are useful in some cases, but where they fail is that it takes a lot of the sort of like action or the stakes out of what you're currently experiencing. If you experience something in the moment, it's always going to be more impactful than if you have characters in present day and then you flash back and you show something. You can do some cool setup, reveal kind of stuff with information. But what I would suggest, my very first thing I would suggest, who was that? Was that Lilith who asked that? The very first thing I would suggest, First thing that comes to mind comes from a Linkin Park song. I know, not one of the new ones, even though that album is pretty good. Pretty good. There are little things that you can do that reinforce the loss of a character more so than any like specific action you can make your characters take. Right? So the very first thing I would say is you have your character sit down at the kitchen table, and all of a sudden, for the first time, there's an empty chair. One more chair than you need. That's a tough one. And even just acknowledging that moment in the midst of your story, that hits hard. And little things like that. Like, I don't know what your story's kind of set up as. Some things I would look to do. I'd have that main character who is now missing. In the past, I've been very vocal in response to certain topics. Right? So, like, if I'm using, like, a real-life example, it'd be something like, you know, anytime we bring up something about like this food or this restaurant, this character is like, oh my God, I freaking love this place. You know, blah, blah, blah. I love, you know, you just like reinforce that idea early on. And then later on in the story, when that thing is mentioned, the silence is palpable. Everyone's waiting to hear that voice come in and talk about this thing. But the voice never speaks up. That hits. That's really powerful to me. Those moments where not that like I'm consciously thinking about this person and then that makes me sad. I think the more impactful moments are subconsciously I feel like this is when that character would chime in, but nothing ever happens. I would be careful with flashbacks. My feeling with flashbacks is the idea that, you know, especially let's say we go with flashback to like an action scene. All right, we're going to flashback. We get this big character reveal moment. Whatever happens in that flashback, it's really hard to make nearly as impactful as something that would happen in real time, in present day, as we're experiencing it. That's the difficult part with flashbacks. What you can do with flashbacks, and this is my favorite way to use flashbacks, is we learn some piece of information about our character. Later on, we have a flashback that now changes how we understand that one piece of information. I find that to be a really strong use of flashbacks, while flashing back just to be like, I don't know. A lot of flashbacks don't have that like sort of like high stakes kind of feeling, or like an idea of like attention, right? I should say not attention, tension. Because we know people are going to be okay afterward. Sometimes that makes it a little bit harder. The Linkin Park writer advice is crazy. That's why you come to the big dog. That's why you are here. That's a great question, though. Great question. I love that. Kara says, I'm reading a book where the MMC's POV, is that male main character, and then FMC female main character is in the past, but her POV has nothing to do with it now, so I've started skipping it. That's a tough choice as an author, right? You could create a really rewarding kind of converging of timelines kind of thing, but the risk is that you have a reader who's really invested in one timeline and not so invested in the other. That is the hardest thing about stories like that. The Linkin Park writer advice is crazy. All right, I got one last thing to say here. One last thing to say, and then we're going to go do some writing. When I was growing up, you know, if you go to like an older person's house, or you go to a house where there's like not really kids present, the kind of kid-focused things in that location are always so strange. They're not the brand name things. So when I look at Wings of Fire, I never read or watched anything about this IP. But there was another thing that we watched called like Dragonflies. or something like that. I don't know if it was like Dragonfly Warriors. We had some like movie that was Dragonfly's movie. Hold on. Not Dragonfly. This was an animated movie. Oh, of course, it's a TV series, and it's Dragonflies with a Z. Let's go. So at my grandmother's house, we had like this VHS cassette tape of Dragonflies. Let's see if I can open. Hold on, let's go. Dragonflies. Dude, look at this. This is the kind of like off-brand, not quite what you, not quite what you would see on TV, but like straight to VHS kind of stuff I love. Look at this. Dragonflies. You can hear the narrator in your head for the kind of commercial that this would be. The superheroes of the future are here. Oh, dude, what's the synopsis for this? See if we can zoom in here. I remember this being like, there was like some tower floating in the sky, and the Dragonflies warriors would jump on their, not dragons, you can see here, they have armor that has like dragonfly wings. They jump off the edge and they go flying off. It's the 41st century, and the fate of mankind rests with the Dragonflies. 3 brave brothers, their valiant sister, and their dragon counterparts in this exciting new animated adventure. Forced to abandon the devastated planet Earth, human society now lives in the floating sky city of Airlandis. Oh no, it's bad! Airlandis! Kept aloft by magic crystals and protected by the brave young dragonflies. But when the mutant lord of the lava-covered netherworld, Dreadwing, attempts to steal the crystals, the dragonflies must take flight. Thus begins the immortal duel, pitting the 4 Dragonators, Zenith, Summit, Peak, and Apex, against the evil Dreadwing. Oh. Compiling the entire first 3 television episodes, Dragonflies, The Legend Begins is an action-packed, feature-length adventure that provides high-flying fun for kids of all ages. Seeing if I recognize any names down here. John and Anthony Genta. Yeah, that's what we watched. Dude, are these based on it? I think the only thing Dragonflies is based on is Dragonflies. You know? Oh, so good. This was the kind of thing. Oh man. Hold on, let me see if there's one other thing I can find. There was some crazy live action TV show. Oh, I'll never be able to find that one. All right, we're getting sidetracked. It's time for us to do some writing. We are here to make progress on our stories. We are here to say at the end of the day, we did something worthwhile. And of course, we have fun while we do it. But now's the time to buckle down and do some writing. So here's the deal. I'm turning the lo-fi music up. I'm turning the microphone off. I'm putting 20 minutes on the clock. We're going to do some writing, and then we're going to come back and chat and have a good time. That's the deal. I've been bad lately about accidentally not starting the timer, so I have to start the timer first. You can do this. Phones down, distractions out of the way. This is 20 minutes of just focus time of like, let's just make it happen. And at the end of it, you're going to be like, oh my God, time went by so fast. That's the goal. 20 minutes on the clock, lo-fi music going up. See you on the other side. First sprint done. Let's go. How'd everyone do? What kind of progress did we make? 21, 15. I'm about on pace. About 700 words. Dario, 510. Nice, nice. I love it. That's some good progress. Raygun's 558 words. Nice. Good job. Good job. That time goes by so fast. Isabel, 797 words. Let's go. Locked in. That's what I'm talking about. Nice. Good job, everyone. Yeah, I gotta say, I could get used to writing on stream. I hope so. I've been doing it for, this is the 3rd week. This is the beginning of the 3rd week of live streams. I can dig it. I can dig it. You guys keep me accountable. I hope I keep you accountable, but you definitely keep me accountable. There's been no off days. Every day I've been writing about 2,000 words. You know, I should pull up my Starlight Farms writing history, because that would show what my writing pace is like when I'm not doing the live streams. I wonder what that would look like. Just Guy had just about 4 or 4 not found. I hope you find those words. Hope we find those words. Phantom, welcome. Hello. Glad to see you here. He said, joining mad late, but I got some work in on a new project I got an idea for. Nice. That's always a good feeling, isn't it? Being able to start something new. When you're planning a story, like, there's unlimited potential. It's so much fun. So much fun. Lilith had a quesadilla and an orange. Oh my gosh. Lilith is at full power. Full power. Mandy Moon, not very far, but story building at the moment. Nice, Mandy Moon. Mandy Moon, I don't know if I've seen you in the chat. Did I already say that? Did I already say that this is the first time we've seen you around? Yes, yes, yes. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Making good progress. Pasqua says 974 words. Wow. That's a lot of words. Kara trying to get some magic things figured out. Sounds like everyone's making some pretty good progress. Pretty good progress. Writing with you all has meant that when I look at my writing history for this, ever since we started, 1,500 words, 1,300 words. This was on a weekend. We don't count weekends. It's not fair. 1,200. That was also a weekend, I think. Then 2,000, 1,100, 1,700, 1,100, and weekend, 13, 24, 18. Been pretty consistent. Let's go see what it looks like on... Oh, hello, friends. Maybe you haven't, maybe you don't know about this. Here's my book. I'm about to open up the Scrivener file for this book, which you can find the link for it in the description. We're going to look at the writing history over there and see how it turned out. Starlight Farms, Kennel for Talking Dogs, shout out. Let's go. Let's go. Recent Starlight Farm. Where are you at? Not even in my recents anymore. Hold on. Let's cover this screen here. Can't let you know what other cool things I'm working on. Those things are need to know basis only. Lila says these streams are so appreciated. I've probably written more words on or watching these live streams than the rest of the year. Lilith, that is so awesome. I am so happy to hear that. And you know, it's new, right? It's kind of a new thing, but it's been so much fun. And anytime you can have fun and also feel like you accomplished something at the end of the day, that's a good feeling. That's a good feeling. I had no clue what this was going to be like. I know I'm not the first person to do a writing live stream, but I kind of thought that, I don't know. I thought maybe week 1 people would join, and then week 2 it would just be me and an empty live stream. But clearly that's not been the case. Everyone's been so awesome and making great progress. And that is so cool. So while I'm sure, you know, you say these streams are appreciated. I'm appreciative that you've been here. And that's awesome. Isabel says, same. I'll come home from work super demotivated. I'll play one of these and get like 2.5 thousand words. That's crazy. That is awesome. Wow. Pascal says same thing. Fusen, also we all miss these streams when November's over. But think of how awesome it'll be when we come back. Stronger than ever. You know, we might do some sporadic live streams, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. This has definitely been fun. Definitely something I want to do again. I've always thought it would be fun to do a live stream where like the live stream doesn't end until you write the full story. I probably wouldn't shoot for 70,000 words or anything like that, but I always thought that'd be kind of a fun thing to do. But I will tell you, we are going to celebrate the end of November and we are going to go hard. I'm going to find some way that for everyone who's been here through November, that we can like for real have a party. That's going to happen right here on the live stream. For real. Maybe you guys can help me brainstorm if you think of anything. Maybe some on-stream marbles. I don't know if you've seen any streamers play that game. That's really fun. We'll see. We'll see. I'd like to do something really fun and special at the end of it, because this has been a very cool experience. All right, Starlight Farms. Starlight Farms. All right, so there's going to be some real crazy stuff on here. So Starlight Farms, when I was writing here, some days I'd have like 4,400 on a day. 2,000-ish, 1,300, 1,000, 1,300, 28, 22, 28, 7,129. That's crazy, dude. Here's a month where I barely wrote anything, it feels like. I was probably working on another project. And we had another month where I wrote 129 words, then did nothing. And then 2,300, 4,400, 700, 3,700, 3,300. 5,812. Whew. Those are some big days. So, I mean, of course, everyone's schedule is going to be different. I think about at this time that I was writing Starlight Farms, I was doing about, most days I was doing an hour or two writing, but Thursdays and Fridays, I would really buckle down and I'd write for like 4 hours. That's when I was able to get out these like 6,000 word days. And then this 9,000 word day was the last day of my proto draft. At that point, it was like I could see the end. I had written the climax of the story. Now I was just doing the resolution. I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. I just had to keep pushing through. And that day, like my fingers were flying throughout the entire thing. I felt like Margot for one day. Shout out Margot. And then, you know what? In December, I want to do a live stream where I wrote this story breakdown document, which is like a PDF I sent out on the day that I released Starlight Farms. I sent it out through the newsletter where people could click on here and download this little PDF. But I took all of these notes as I was writing about things like, where did this spark of this idea for this story come from? How did I choose a genre? Did I consciously choose a genre? Was it just a natural sort of idea? What was the mission of the story? How did I bring it from abstract idea into like something I could actually write? And I did this whole thing, and everything, all these little sections ended with like, here was like my actual plot framework that I put together for this thing. Chapter 1 was supposed to do this. Chapter 2 was supposed to do that. And at the end, I had all of these like actionable takeaways. So like distilling everything above, even if you don't read all of that, these were like the biggest sort of things that I took away from writing my first book. The biggest things that helped me get to the next step, how to avoid some of the mistakes I made. What I'd like to do in December is like a full spoiler, full story breakdown where we go through this story breakdown PDF, and I'll send it out to everyone who wants to do the live stream. And just sort of like understand every decision that went into writing this and where I think my biggest mistakes were and how I would do it if I could do it again. And like the big thing, you know, all that kind of stuff. If you would like to join that and not have the story spoiled, you can pick this up on Amazon, link below. The ebook's real cheap. The physical copy feels real good, but of course, you know how it is. You've heard me say it all before. That was really good. I did a section for ideas and planning, a section for writing with more takeaways, a section for editing, and then a section for publishing. I learned a lot in the publishing process. If you are wondering whether or not you should self-publish your book, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, you should. Absolutely should. A lot of people are gonna say that's like, maybe should you like traditionally publish? And the thing is, like, that would be cool to traditionally publish your story. And if you really feel confident that you've written something that you think is gonna land on a bookshelf, by all means, go do it. But that also means typically, first off, sending off your manuscript to a bunch of different people to try to get an agent. And then that agent helps connect you to the publisher. You just send a copy of your manuscript. I think from everything I've heard, you're much more likely to get feedback and information back if you go through an agent who has a better connection versus just like sending it out. And then you just have to be lucky. You have to be good and lucky. You can't just be one. You hear a lot of authors say, there was this one author, I think I talked about this on a previous live stream, who took like a famous mystery book, like super award-winning mystery book that was published back in like the 70s, and packaged that manuscript and sent that out to a bunch of different publishers. And of the it was like an insane number of people. Of the number of publishers he sent out to, most people didn't send him anything back. Like, I feel like there was like less than 20 rejection letters, and then like 4 actual contacts that went back to him that showed that someone even actually looked at it. And of those 4, only one of them was like, you should really check out this other book. Your book has a lot of similarities to this mystery book. Yeah, so if you're interested in traditionally publishing, there's a lot of hurdles to go through. It's tough. I recommend you self-publish. Because you learn a lot about that process. Like, you have to start thinking about like the business side of writing. What's your cover and title going to be? How are you going to make it like locked in when it comes to like genre expectations and reader expectations? You got to put together a whole blurb. Like, how do you summarize your entire book and market your book in like 300 words or less? I don't know. It was a really positive experience for me. I mean, you definitely don't go into self-publishing thinking, I'm going to put out this book and have like a bestseller, you know? But you learn a lot doing it. And then the next time you put a book out, I guarantee you are more likely to write a book that appeals to more people because of all the lessons that you've learned and get more eyes on your project. And then the next time you do it, you're going to be even better at it. And then at some point, maybe you take a step back on accident. You put something out, it doesn't quite land like you wanted. And then you come back to it and you nail it, you know? Plus, there's also, here's maybe the biggest reason why I think you should self-publish your story. It's that this is sort of a bookmark, a checkpoint on your writing career. Like, you're not just gonna write one story. I guarantee you, if you package everything up and you put it out into the world, share your story with the world like that, like, you are locking yourself in to be writing for the rest of your life. For sure. I know that, like, after holding a copy of this in my hand and like all the history that like you know, that I went through to try to get this copy, to make it feel right, to make it look right, to make it read right. Like, you know, you're definitely connected to your books. But also, just the whole thing is like, seeing a finished final product is like insanely wild. When for 2 months, it was just text on your computer screen, you know? And then, of course, holding in your hands, crazy. Raygun says, I have 8 at least planned. That's good. That's good. Good to have stuff planned. Gotta make sure you write them, though. That's the hard part. That's the hard part. How many people here keep a journal of story ideas? How many people here keep a journal of story ideas? Or some sort of document on your computer? And if you do, how do you put them down? Is it just like a title, or do you have like a couple paragraph synopsis? Do you have like how exactly do you store your story ideas in whatever system that you do? I'm curious. Because I feel like if you have an idea that you're really attached to and you're putting it in a document or a journal, I wouldn't be able to just say like, here's one sentence for what the story idea is at. For me, I'd probably end up writing like an entire plot dump. But at that point, I'm ready to start planning and writing it, you know? Isabel says, I number them, then reference that number when talking about it later. Does that mean you have like a notepad with a number, and then at a different point in your notepad, I'm just using notepad, it can be whatever platform, you have like more details? So you have like a quick reference and then like details? Raygun says, I keep an idea board and a wall of notes in my Google Docs. Mandy Moon, not a journal, but a random sense that pops into my head. Gotcha. Dario, not a journal, but many documents. And then I put bullet points in. Wait, that's Fusen. And I work on it when I feel like. I have a bullet point notes. Lilith says, no storing. The idea is good enough. I'll just remember it. You say you're just joking, Lilith. That's my actual process. I'll talk more about it in a second. We got shared universes with ray guns. Just Guy says, I don't have one. I just have them in my head. Hope I don't forget. Terrio says, now I just try to put them all into Scrivener and clean up all those different documents. Oh. Feel that. Isabel says, I have a tiny black notebook. I love notebooks. I just never feel like have enough to say that's worth putting it in a notebook. And I have a fear I'm gonna just end up being more of a notebook, like a journal collector, instead of like an actual journaler. I'm just a journal collector. Lola says, I know that if I wrote down stuff, I never remember to check it. Just Guy, I do use notepads. Justin, hey Justin, let's go. Justin says, I have a workspace document in Google Docs. Every time I come up with an idea, I put a new tab in it. I pick one out for development every now and then. Nice. Isabel says, I jot it down, expand on it later. Garrett, God, you guys are full of ideas. I write it down in Google Docs for later. Sometimes it gets stuck in my head. For everyone saying, I'll just remember, you're wrong. All right, I'll talk about my process. So I have been, in the past, and I still believe this, I have been a staunch, what's the opposite of a supporter? Non-supporter. I've been a staunch non-supporter of journals. Specifically, not journals for like writing down your thoughts, but specifically for keeping track of all the story ideas that you have. And this is my opinion, right? You could, of course, change your process for how you write down story ideas and probably overcome all the downsides I'm about to say. But opponent, maybe that's better. A staunch opponent. Also, the word staunch doesn't get used enough. Staunch. Dario says, hater, admit to it. I'm not a hater. I understand having a journal of story ideas. and I used to do the same thing, right? I used to, and this was probably back in like my high school days. Because it's so much fun to plan a story, right? I'd go through and every time I had an idea or like I had a really interesting dream even, I'd be like, this would make a fantastic story. And I start writing things down in like a journal. I'm sure I even still have those journals somewhere. But back in high school, which gets further in the past every day. Whew. Let me switch over here. Don't think about how long it's been since you've been in high school. For some of us, it'll be like, why? Others of us will be like, don't you ever say the words high school around me. It was probably, there's this Stephen King interview that I saw that he very specifically makes this like analogy of when it comes to story ideas, having a story journal is like having a fine mesh strainer. And I see where he's going, but the better analogy is like it's fishing with a net. Okay, this is where I'm taking it. But this came from Stephen King. And love him or hate him, he's got interesting thoughts. You can disagree with those thoughts, totally okay. But in this case, I did agree with him. Having a story journal is like fishing with a net in the sense of you really want to catch those big ideas. But when you keep track of everything that crosses your mind, there's a lot of stories that simply kind of, what's the right word? They take up space. They're ideas that you jotted down because you have a story journal and that's what you're supposed to jot down. That's what it's for. But all of those really good big ideas that you should be focusing on kind of get lost in the mix. And you know what? Maybe you highlight them. Maybe you impose your own filter. And you say, I am only going to write down the ideas that I think are really big and worthwhile. Easy, right? You just overcome my number one hurdle to the whole idea. But in my mind, if I was to write down every story idea that I had, I would have a lot of ideas. And when it came time to write, I wouldn't know how to pick one. Or, I might look at one idea and say, that's too big, or like that's too ambitious, and choose something that is maybe more of a simpler idea instead of writing the one that maybe in hindsight I should have written. But more than anything, it's the idea that you have some really good big ideas, but now they're in the mix of a lot of other ideas that you kind of have to sift through and you'll never write. And so I see the chat going. I'm gonna finish my thought before I get back in there. Before I see how I'm being roasted in the comments. So instead, what I do is, I took Stephen King's philosophy, and he always ended it with this very poignant little note. The story ideas that are attention-grabbing enough. The story ideas that are promising enough, that I truly believe in, stick in my head. And, we've already seen in the chat, some people have said, like, if you don't write it down, you're going to forget it. You're totally right. Me, personally, every story idea that I've really felt like I should write, I have not started writing it until I was actually going to be putting words down. Right? And I didn't keep track of it anywhere else. But those ideas I sort of latched on, and I would passively think about and plan and be like, oh, it would be really cool if it did this, and be, this would be a great way to do it. This world would look like this. And I'm not writing a single thing down. I'm just kind of thinking about it. And then that idea just kind of, for me, becomes internalized. Right? I've got like a Weird West story that's like Wendigos and zombies and cowboys. That would be so much fun to write. I've got this sort of middle grade fantasy story that's been my baby forever that I really want to write, that I've got all these things in my head for how I want to do it. And that story I have started. Got like 70,000 words on it. So I have all these different ideas for things I want to write. And I don't put them in a journal. I just think about them. All right, so that's it. Now let's go in here. Let me see what we got in the comments. Kira, sometimes I'll go back and read an idea and it will not make sense to me anymore. Idea gone. And you know what? That's not a bad thing, because you could cross it out and now it's no longer filling up space in your journal if that's the case. Like I said, you could definitely poke holes in my theory. Just Guy says, I do forget my ideas, but it's not the end of the world. There's more where that came from. You are a wealth of imagination. That's right. Isabel says, nah, if I need to write a short story on the run, I don't have an idea. My notebook is a godsend. I guess that's why it's there. This guy says, I write down ideas that are really good. Boom. Love it. Checkmate, Carson. I only write down the good ones. An idea journal is like a drawer. Keep 3 things in it and it's great. That's a kind of an interesting analogy. Put everything in it and it just becomes the junk drawer in your kitchen. We all have one. Tario says, I always have notebooks with me wherever I go. But those are for everything and not just stories. I've started doing that recently. I'm doing some developmental editing for a story for one of our writers in the Discord community. And so I bought a little leather journal that has a couple field notes in there, and I keep all my notes on what I'm reading and feedback and questions with that story. And it's so fun. It's so fun to just like go, like when it was warm outside, to go to a park and sit down under a tree and read on my Kindle and make notes in my little journal. I mean, my big, cool, manly journal. Ray Guns, don't let your idea journals become a catch-all junk drawers. That's the biggest thing. Love me some Cowboys. Yeehaw. Yeehaw, brother. Lila says, my current novel, I've remembered every single detail of the characters and the world and the plot and very little which is written down. But because I remember it all, I am assured it is necessity. Goodness. Exactly. Exactly. That's the thing. At least for me, and I know this is not for everyone, but at least for me, they're always stuck in my head still. I'm still ruminating on them. Ruminating. That's the word. That's a good word to use. Pascal says, I have so many journals that I don't want to mess up. I use the word on my phone. You know what? Here's what I do. When I have a journal, see this one back here? When I have a journal that I'm going to be like putting some stuff in, what I'll do, see if I did it here. Oh, you know what? I wonder if you'll be able to see this. Can you see any of that? You can't really see the words, but the very first thing I do in every journal is I write a word and I smear that pen ink. The idea being like, you know what? If I want this to be pretty, if I want this to be pristine, it's not gonna happen, and I'm just gonna be unhappy when I make my first mistake. So on my very first page, I'm gonna purposely make an ugly mistake and just get it out of the way. And now if I write something that I end up needing to like cross out or something, I don't feel like I'm ruining my journal. See what else I got. But I started keeping this. This was just like actual journaling stuff, not so much like story stuff. Yeah, there's some good stuff in here. Including, one day, you can't see it, the Writing Theory Publishing House. Need I say more? I'll tell you, once writing theory is lucrative, one day, when it's lucrative, I would love to help authors publish their books. That's one of the end goals. If you believe in the journey, well, of course you guys do. You guys have been kind enough to be here in the live stream. One day. Lantern Valley says, I outlined 30 stories and rolled the dice to decide which one to write. You know what? I like that. I like that. You are the creative force behind the story. You're not trying to write that one magical story. You should just be writing stories. Oh, man. Lantern Valley, I'm writing my current novel 100% because of RNG. Love it. Dario says, keeping all of my stories in my head makes me feel like I exceeded my biological memory card. All right, hack. Pro hack. Whenever you have a good idea, just erase an older good idea and you never run out of memory. Pro tip. I once started drafting a story using entirely random tropes from TV. I started a story that was meant to come after Starlight Farms. I wanted to try doing a Kindle novella. I wanted to explore the idea of how to write a story when you don't know the ending. Because I think there's some really good stuff that you could do of just like perpetual storytelling. And Novella is like, that's part of the whole idea, you know? So I started writing a story there. And one of the things I did is I went to a couple shows that were like inspired that idea. And I went through their entire TV tropes page and I just took out every single one that I wanted to be in my story, right? This person's, you know, has a fake identity, is posing as someone else. This person double crosses this other person. There's like a love triangle here. There's here's all the things. It was basically Lost. I just love Lost. That was the idea. Isabel says, Carson, I've already written the memory erasing story. It doesn't end well. But it ends in New Orleans. And it could be in the French Quarter having a party. Sacrificing the date of my birthday to remember a space cowboy idea. You know? Oh, crap. What's that quote? There's a great quote that would have been hilarious right here. The strongest sacrifices require the strongest wills. Oh, crap. What would that be? Help me out. Is this a Thanos thing? Man, Thanos kind of had some things locked down. Kind of some things figured out. Hello, we got D.O. in the chat. Hello. And Pasca says, I need to head out. It's late where I am. Thanks for all the fun. Thank you. And good job making some progress on your story. Speaking of, we probably should do another writing sprint. Stray Bubble says, God saves his funniest battles for his silliest gooses. You know, there's lots of silly gooses out there. There's only one goose on the loose, and he's on stream today. Put that down in your journal and smoke it. Let's do a writing sprint. What's happening? It's all chaos. This is supposed to be a chill stream. It's all chaos. It always has been. All right. We're going to do another 20-minute live stream. We got Dio says, my problem is procrastination. Currently writing a novella, but it's been a year, still on 13,000 words. Dio, today could be the day. It goes from 13,000 to 14,000. But if you stick around here, you know, even if you don't end up writing, we should talk about procrastination in old stories and whether or not you should revisit them. There may be some hard truths out there. Who knows? That sounds like a good conversation for when we come back from the writing sprint. All right. You know the deal. Lo-fi up, microphone off. 20 minutes. 20 minutes. I'll see you guys on the other side. Let's go! Our final sprint is done. Another 20 minutes come and gone, just like that. How'd you do? What progress did you make? Justin says, I seem to be stuck in the middle act malaise, and I think that I might have to restructure my first act a little bit. Woo! Interesting, Justin. We'll talk a little bit more about that in 1 second. Just Guy says, 682 words. Isabel, 768. That brings you up to like 1,500 words today. 670 or 479 for Eterial, 312 for JPB. Hello, JPB. Hello. Just got not a single Roman L. Okay. All right, the middle act malaise. Day Swallower, hello. Mum for Ebug, editing, added some takeaways, looking for some clues for new outline. Nice, nice. So Justin says he's got those middle act malaise, huh? Let me tell you, that is totally normal. I think that the easiest part of your book to write is the beginning and the end. It's all that pesky stuff in the middle that's hard. I find that I plan my inciting incident, my act 1. Hell Jumper 325, little 475 words. Let's go. I find that I plan my act 1 in like some kind of pretty detailed way, and I kind of know where the story is going, but that middle 50%, I never plan at the same level of detail, if you know what I mean. And I think honestly that's where a lot of the like middle 50% kind of stalling happens for a lot of people. The number one thing, and of course it's kind of hard for me to say whether or not this is going to fix your problem, Justin, but the number one thing that I learned is simply to break your middle 50% down into at least 3 major points. 3 major points. Specifically, I found in my case that kind of determining my middle 50% of my novel as 3 acts within itself meant that I could or more easily say I need to go from here to there. Hold on, I'm on the camera. From here to there. There we go. What are the barriers between these 2 points? And then how can I say I can't make it this far in my story unless I solve this problem? And then, like, here's the next barrier I need to overcome. Here's when we mess up and we think we're going to lose everything. And then we finally get to the climax. Breaking it up into 3 specific points. 3 specific points I needed to get to meant planning those 3 points was so much easier than just saying I need to plan half of my novel. So, like, for me, this whole idea came from me watching a movie that I was studying for a story I wanted to write. That movie was called Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas. And I was trying to find what's some good movie that's all about like swashbuckling. Because I really wanted to represent swashbuckling in my story really well. Because I was wanting to write a swashbuckling story. Hold on, let me get this opened up. Oh, wow. Great. All right, here's Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas. Let me get past this Lego ad. Let me know if anyone remembers this movie. It wasn't a huge hit, but it had Brad Pitt, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Michelle Pfeiffer. Come on. That's a banger of a cast. So, in this case, I went to this movie because I was like, I want to write a swashbuckling story because I love that genre and the kind of heroes that are present in there. Let me go look at a movie and pick out the things that I liked and or didn't like and how they chose to explore the story. This is not an award-winning story. But because it's not an award-winning story, it was very clear about some of the story structure things that they were doing. In this case, we have a story that starts in point A. And the character needs to go to point B. And of course, naturally, that means all of our middle 50% of our story happens in that journey. So let's introduce some new locations. This story specifically had 3 major sort of conflicts between point A and point B. All right, so I'm watching this movie. Here's the big inciting incident. Here's what our hero is going to do. Here's where I know the climax is going to happen because I've seen this before. And now I'm watching what they're doing between those 2 moments. And what happened was, if you don't know this movie, Sinbad, the pirate, needs to go retrieve this thing that was stolen to prove his best friend's innocent. Okay, got all that out of the way. A girl, of course, stows away on his ship as he's taking off to go to this location. And so the first, okay, I'll go ahead and say the middle 50 broken up into 3 points, right? This is where I learned that thing. The first point showcased why this female character was going to be a great addition to the crew of pirates. So it showed her sort of getting along with a couple different people and very quickly introduced a conflict that only she could resolve. In this case, it was sirens in the water. All the men fell under the spell. She had to save them all. Right? So that was the first conflict. Very quickly establishing this is not a helpless character, and also very quickly establishing that Sinbad had feelings for her. Boom. Nice. Love it. Very efficient. So then we built up to that one moment. We had that conflict, and now we have some time to sort of understand what happened, let these 2 characters bond, show our main character like not changing right away, but like trying to be a man, right? Second major sort of conflict we have, we're still going to point B. At that second major conflict, we had our characters going onto like land, onto this island. Spoiler alert, turns out to be a giant turtle, okay? And then so we had just this big fun moment of, I think this was the second one, big fun moment of conflict and everything. Nothing really impactful happens like in that first one when we had our female character prove their worth. In this case, we kind of just further let our two characters enjoy each other's company. Turtles all the way down. Then the third conflict had them on this like snowy mountain, and only our main two characters, the love interests, could solve this conflict. I think the female character gets swooped up by like a giant bird onto the top of this mountain. Sinbad goes up there to save her. They sled down the mountain, avoiding all this danger. And that was like the moment where they started to get feelings for each other and like admit it, right? And then that brought us to the climax. 3 distinctive major checkpoints in our middle 50 story along the way to our end. Now, if you're writing a story that doesn't have a lot of travel like that, like my story just kind of takes place in one location, right? The purpose of this other kind of story, the one that I'm writing, is not that we're going to travel to a bunch of locations, but we're going to raise the stakes, right? So in our case, that first sort of conflict we're going to hit is going to be, right, our first like exploration into, you know, here's the themes of our town, and like we're in over our heads. And then our second major conflict is going to be getting closer to finding the villain, but now being caught by, or maybe not right away, but like you see, we're slowly building towards the climax of the mystery story, but we're gonna do it in 3 major checkpoints, 3 major events, 3 major points where we can say, here's the climax of the story. Now let's calm down a bit, explore the ramifications of that, and build towards the next one. Now slow down, explore the ramifications of that, build towards the final one. Oh no, all hope seems lost. And then we have the actual climax of the whole story. That was super helpful for me. And I got that from a Sinbad, the animated pirate love story was starring Brad Pitt. That's how we raise the stakes. All right. JPB says, do you have a process for studying a movie or other forms of media? I love studying movies, and this is coming from someone who doesn't even watch a ton of movies, right? In this case, hello Dana, hello. In this case, for studying Sinbad, I specifically went in not really trying to learn who this character was or about the world, because that's like part of the fun of a movie, is like being exposed to this whole new world. Don't start singing it. I can't do it. I'll sing it so well I'll get copyright claim. Sorry guys. With Sinbad, I specifically was watching to understand that middle 50. So JPB saying, do you have a process for studying a movie? Number 1 is to go into it looking for something in particular. It's going to be really easy to just get pulled into a movie because movies are fun. But if you go in saying, I really want to study why these two characters have such great chemistry, or I really want to study the structure of a plot, you go into it with that intention, right? I rented this on YouTube for like $5. Overpriced, by the way. I would not pay $5 for this movie unless I was doing studying like this, which should honestly be a tax write-off for a writer. Could you imagine if we could write off everything we did for research? We'd be living like kings out here. So in this case, I went in there specifically to say, I know where the story starts. I know where it's going to end. How do they structure their story from point A to point B? I think it's helpful to go into a movie to study with a movie you've already seen. So like, what movie has the best character chemistry? Or like, if you wanted to keep studying swashbuckling, go watch Pirates of the Caribbean, which is a perfect movie. And specifically say, what's the theme of Jack Sparrow? I'll tell you the theme is he a pirate or not? Well, yeah, he's a pirate. But does he still do noble things like save Elizabeth Swann when she falls in the water? Yes, she does. Yes, he does. And she does fall in the water. They're both correct. So that's another thing I'd recommend. I love studying movies. I would study books. I do study books, but it's way faster to study movies. You know what I mean? Yeah, William says you were researching swashbuckling. You didn't go to Pirates of the Caribbean. I purposely was looking for not a Pirates of the Caribbean. And I say that because I've already researched Pirates of the Caribbean. Like I said, it's a perfect movie. And in fact, I say that only because I watched like a 2.5-hour video essay about why it's the perfect script. You think this is amateur hour? Oh, Liam, hold on. Come here. You think this is amateur hour? You think I'm not studying Pirates of the Caribbean? You think I'm not studying Dead Man's Chest? You think I'm not studying whatever the third one was, Stranger Tides? Come on. You think I'm not studying Zorro and Zorro 2 starring Anthony Banderas? Is that his name? You think I'm not studying Anthony Hopkins' mentor role character? The original Zorro? Come on. Dario says, I love watching cinema therapy on YouTube. They analyze relationships with characters so greatly. Great. I've never heard of that channel. I'll definitely have to check them out. Great recommendation. I've read the book version on Stranger Tides. That's on my to be read list. If you're looking for more swashbuckling tales, you can always go to the OG, Captain Blood, written in like the early 1900s maybe. No magic in there, but the classic swashbuckling tale that inspired those early Hollywood movies. JPB says lots of great classic swashbucklers are now in the Creative Commons. You know, I think I mentioned this on the Friday stream. One thing I really want to do, I think would be a lot of fun as a live stream, would be to watch a Creative Commons movie on stream with all of us together and then analyze the story. Say, oh, they specifically set this up earlier for this reason, or like, this is our moment of Dark Night of the Soul. What plot framework is this movie in? What can we learn from that? Things like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. Captain Hornblower, Captain Jack Aubrey. Great name, Jack Aubrey. Love it. Yeah, I'd like to read on Stranger Tides. Never checked it out. It's on the list, but a lot of books are. All right. All of that being said, it's time to wind down. I had a great time with you all tonight. Let me pull up something over here. If you want to give Pro Writing Aid a try, now is the time to do it. They got their 50% off sale on right now. Let me get that up. In case you are interested, you can use my link below. Try it out. 50% off. It's probably the best deal you're going to get, I would imagine. I can't imagine they go lower than that. Feel free to use my link below, but I do not think the discounts stack. But give it a shot. Maybe you'll love it. Maybe you won't. And hey, you paid 50% off to figure it out. Kiara says, I'm named after Keira Knightley. You know what? Could be worse. What was I named after, you might ask? Carson. You know what? When I was growing up in like middle school, and I was in a computer class, all these kids were looking up the meaning of their name. My name's Joshua, and that means honor. That means led by angels. My name is Stephen. That means shepherd in like Anglo-Saxon Germanic. My name is Frank, which means stoic and a stoic steward. And then I'd Google my name, and it would be like Carson, son of Car. And I'd be like, wow, thanks, Mom and Dad. Really feel like I missed out. It's tough. It's a tough one. Thank you to Pro Writing Aid for sponsoring the live stream. We had a great time today. Make sure you post your progress over in the Discord. I will be here at this live stream tomorrow. It'll be earlier in the day than this time slot. You know the schedule. If you're not part of the Discord, you know what to do. Check it out in the link below. Good progress today, guys. This was such a fast live stream. Yeah, Lilith says, wow, has it already been 2 hours? It has. Isn't that crazy? I'm telling you, time flies when you're having fun. And you're writing like 1,400 words. Let's go. Or 600 or 500. That's progress. That's still progress. All right, everyone. Have a great rest of the night. If you're not here tomorrow, I will hopefully see you on Wednesday. And we'll be doing this again, maybe a little bit more focused time, but we still had some great conversation today. And that's just as good. Bring me your questions tomorrow. I want to have a good writing discussion, or Wednesday, whenever you're here next. And for those who are here tomorrow, I will see you then. Everyone have a great rest of the night. Goodbye, Ataria. I will see you tomorrow. Let's go. Good progress, everyone. See ya.